She stands before 300 immortal eyes. The great hall of Blackthorn Castle swallows sound like a tombstone walls drinking in whispers, chandeliers casting shadows that crawl across marble floors. Seraphina Ashwood holds her chin high despite the trembling in her knees, despite the weight pressing against her spine, despite the ancient vampire lords watching her like wolves circling wounded prey. 3 months pregnant. Her belly swells beneath midnight silk rounded and impossible carrying life that grows 3 times faster than human nature intended. The gown conceals nothing. Every curve, every change, every evidence of what the vampire king has done to her body on display for the court to judge. But it's the mark they stare at most. 2 puncture wounds blazing red against pale throat, still fresh, still claiming. The bite that changed everything. The brand that says she belongs to Lucian Ravencroft, and Lucian Ravencroft bows to no one. "You expect us to kneel?" Lord Salvatore's voice cuts through silence like silver through flesh. Ancient silver-haired eyes cold as winter lakes. "To a human servant girl, to a mortal who will crumble to dust before the century turns." The temperature drops. Frost creeps across windows. Lucian moves like darkness given form, crossing 20 feet before hearts can beat. His hand closes around Salvatore's throat, lifting the ancient vampire off his feet as easily as a man lifts a child. Storm-gray eyes burn with something more dangerous than rage. "Challenge me." His voice stays soft, controlled, the kind of quiet that precedes avalanches. "Meet me in the arena. Prove my love makes me weak." Salvatore's face purples. His feet kick empty air. "Or bow to your future queen." The words hang suspended, a blade waiting to fall. Then everything goes black. 3 months earlier. Dawn breaks over the Catskill Mountains, painting Blackthorn Castle in shades of blood and gold. In the servants' quarters, morning arrives with the scent of lye soap, and yesterday's bread with calloused hands and silent prayers for another day survived. Morgana Ashwood's hands shake as she holds the letter. Black wax seal. The Ravencroft crest pressed into darkness. Parchment that smells of winter, and something older, something that remembers when these mountains were young. "Your daughter. Tonight, my private chambers. No refusal will be accepted." The words blur. Morgana reads them again, as if repetition might change what's written, might rewrite destiny with the force of a mother's fear. "Mom." Seraphina stands in the doorway, golden hair still tangled from sleep, sapphire eyes heavy with dreams not yet shaken off. 19 years wrapped in faded cotton, bare feet on cold stone, everything her mother tried to keep hidden from the immortal gaze now summoned by royal decree. "He's calling for you." Morgana's voice cracks like ice underfoot. "The king. He wants you in his chambers tonight." The words settle between them heavy as gravestones. Sarah's hand finds the doorframe, steadies herself against wood that's held this castle upright for centuries, outlasting empires, outlasting the brief flicker of human lives. Her face goes pale, then flushed, then something else entirely. "Why?" The question comes out smaller than she intends. "Why me?" Morgana looks at her daughter, really looks. Sees what Lucian Ravencroft must have seen. Golden hair that catches light like captured sunlight. Sapphire eyes that hold ocean depths. Delicate features that carry an echo of someone lost to time, someone who loved a monster and paid for it with mortal years instead of forever. "You look like her," Morgana whispers. "Like my grandmother. Celeste." The name falls between them like a stone into still water. "I don't understand." 45 years ago, before I was born, the king loved a woman. A human woman who worked in his kitchens. Celeste Ashwood. Morgana's eyes glisten. They loved for 5 years. He offered her immortality. She refused. Sarah's breath catches. She wanted children. A human life. She left him to marry a mortal man to have the family vampires cannot create. Morgana's hand trembles on the parchment. Before she died, she made him promise something, to protect her bloodline, to watch over her descendants if they ever needed sanctuary. That's why we're here. Understanding blooms like frost across glass. 19 years ago, you came here pregnant, running from your father. Yes. Morgana's voice hardens on the word father, turns it into something sharp. I remembered my mother's stories about Blackthorn Castle, about the vampire who loved my grandmother enough to let her go. I came with nothing but you in my belly, and hoped that he'd remember his promise. And he did. He recognized me the moment I walked through those gates, saw my grandmother's eyes looking back at him. Morgana grips her daughter's hands. He's kept us safe ever since, given us shelter, food, protection. I thought he was honoring Celeste's memory. The unspoken truth thunders between them. But yesterday, Sarah whispers in the portrait gallery, I wasn't watching where I walked. I collided with him. She remembers it in fragments, strong hands catching her before she fell, the scent of winter and smoke. Looking up into eyes like storm clouds rolling across mountain peaks, gray depths that saw through skin and bone into the trembling want she'd kept buried for months. 6 months, if she's honest. 6 months of watching him from corners, from shadows, from the safe distance servants maintain. 6 months of dreams she'd never speak aloud. I looked at him. Her voice drops to confession. I didn't lower my eyes. I just stared. And he'd smiled, slow and knowing, like a wolf recognizing prey that stopped running. Then he'd released her and walked away, leaving her gasping in an empty hallway with her heart trying to break through her ribs. You could run, Morgana says, desperate now. Leave tonight. Be gone before sunset. They'd hunt me down before sunrise. Sarah meets her mother's gaze. You know what they say about King Lucian. No one escapes him. No one refuses him. Then we run together, and spend the rest of your life fleeing. Sarah squeezes her mother's hands. No, you've run enough. The decision settles in her bones like certainty, like fate. She's terrified. Her hands won't stop shaking. But beneath the fear pulses something else entirely. Something that's been building since she first saw Lucian Ravencroft moving through shadows like he owned darkness itself. Curiosity. Desire, the terrible pull of wanting something she doesn't understand. I'll go, she says. I choose to go. Morgana's face crumples. But Sarah's already seeing past this moment, already walking toward the precipice, already wondering what it feels like to fall. Night devours the castle. 2 guards escort her through corridors she's only cleaned, never walked as anything but invisible help. The castle transforms after dark. Chandeliers blaze with cold light. Behind closed doors sounds drift out that make her skin prickle with something between fear and fascination. Laughter that sounds like screaming, screaming that might be pleasure. They stop before massive doors carved with battle scenes, bloodshed frozen in dark wood. One guard knocks 3 times. Enter. The voice slides through heavy oak like smoke under a door wrapping around her spine, pulling her forward. The doors swing open. She steps inside. The chamber swallows cathedrals. Vaulted ceilings disappear into shadow. Windows taller than houses overlook moonlit forests that stretch toward horizons she's never seen. A bed dominates the far wall, draped in black silk that seems to absorb light to drink illumination and offer nothing back. And in the center of it all stands Lucian Ravencroft. He's changed from formal court dress. Now he wears only black pants and an open shirt revealing pale skin that glows like marble in candlelight. Raven dark hair falls across his forehead. Storm-gray eyes track her every breath, every tremor, every unconscious step she takes toward him before she catches herself. Close the distance between us. Not a request. A command wrapped in velvet iron underneath. Her feet move, carry her across polished floor until she stands close enough to feel the cold radiating from his body. Vampires run colder than humans. Everyone knows that. But she hadn't expected it to feel like standing near winter itself, like frost given flesh. Look at me. She'd been staring at his chest, at the V of pale skin where his shirt opens. Now she lifts her gaze, meets those impossible eyes, and feels the world tilt beneath her feet. "Do you know why you're here, Serafina?" Hearing her name in his mouth sends heat spiraling through her body, pooling low in her belly in a way that makes her want to press her thighs together. She resists. Barely. "You summoned me." "That's not an answer." He moves closer. Not touching, but near enough that she can smell him now. Winter frost and wood smoke and something darker, something that makes her mouth water. "Try again." Her mind races. "Because I looked at you. Because I didn't lower my eyes fast enough." "No." He circles her slowly, a predator examining prey, and she feels his gaze like physical touch sliding over her body, mapping every curve through thin cotton. "You're here because I've watched you for 6 months. Because I've seen the way you look at me when you think no one notices. With hunger in your eyes that you don't understand yet." He stops in front of her again, so close his breath stirs her hair. "Because yesterday when our bodies touched, I felt your heart racing and smelled your desire, and I decided I was done waiting." The confession steals her breath. 6 months. He's been watching her for half a year and she never knew. The power imbalance should terrify her. Instead, it makes her dizzy with want. "Tell me." His hand rises, fingertips brushing her cheek with touch colder than ice, but burning in ways she's never felt. "Are you afraid?" "Yes." Truth escapes before she can cage it. "Good. Fear will keep you honest." His thumb traces her lower lip, pressing gently until her mouth parts. "But is it only fear, little one, or something else?" "Both." The word ghosts across his skin. His eyes darken like storm clouds gathering. "I can hear your heartbeat. It's racing like a trapped bird. I can smell your arousal, sweet and desperate." His other hand settles on her waist, possessive and sure. "You came to my chambers wearing white like a sacrifice, but we both know you're not here because you have to be. Are you?" The question hangs heavy between them. She could lie. Could claim she's only here because of his summons, because she has no choice, because she's just a servant following orders. The lie would be easier. Safer. "No." The word leaves her lips soft as prayer. His smile could cut. "Then tell me what you want, Serafina. Tell me why you're really here." The heat between her legs becomes unbearable. Her nipples harden against thin cotton. Every nerve ending screams for touch she's never experienced, pleasure she's only imagined in darkness, while her fingers explored what her mind couldn't name. "I want..." Her voice fails. "I want to understand." "Understand what?" "This feeling." She meets his eyes, sees hunger there that mirrors her own. "Every time I see you, I feel like I'm burning from the inside out. I dream about your hands on my body. I wake up aching and empty and desperate for something I don't have words for." His grip on her waist tightens, fingers pressing hard enough to bruise. "And what do you think I can give you?" "Everything." The word comes out raw, honest. "I want you to show me everything." The sound he makes is barely human. A growl that rumbles through his chest vibrates against her palm when she dares to rest it over where his heart should beat. There's no heartbeat, just cold flesh and hunger barely restrained. "You have no idea what you're asking for." "Then show me." She's being bold now, bolder than she's ever been. But something about his presence makes her feel brave and reckless and alive. "Teach me." His hand leaves her waist, moves to the high neckline of her dress. One finger hooks beneath fabric, and she feels the strength in him, how easily he could tear everything away. Instead, he traces the edge slowly. A promise. A threat. "If I start, I won't stop. I'll take everything you're offering and more." His voice drops to gravel. "I'll ruin you for any other touch. I'll mark you, claim you, breed you raw until you're swollen with my seed, and everyone in this castle knows exactly who you belong to." The explicit words should shock her. Instead, they send liquid heat flooding through her core, making her inner walls clench around emptiness. She's touched herself late at night, fingers exploring slick heat, while she imagined things she didn't fully understand. But this the reality of Lucian Ravencroft promising to use her body to fill her with his seed to make her his in the most primal way possible. This goes beyond any fantasy. "Please," her voice breaks on the word. "Please, what?" His mouth hovers near her ear, cold breath making her shiver. "Use your words, little one. Tell me exactly what you want." "I want you inside me." The confession tumbles out in a rush. "I want to know what it feels like to be claimed, to be filled, to be yours. I want—" Her voice drops to desperate whisper. "I want you to breed me like you promised." The last word barely leaves her lips before his mouth crashes against hers. There's nothing gentle about it. Just raw possession and hunger that's been building for months, for decades, for centuries of loneliness finally finding an end. His tongue invades her mouth, tasting her, claiming her, and she opens for him, eagerly meeting his aggression with desperate need of her own. His hands are everywhere. One tangles in her golden hair, gripping tight enough to arch her neck back. The other slides down her body to cup her rear through thin cotton, pulling her hard against him. She feels his arousal thick and rigid against her belly, impossibly large, and a thrill of fear and excitement makes her moan into his mouth. He breaks the kiss, leaving her gasping lips swollen and wet. "The dress." His voice is rough, barely controlled. "Take it off. Now." Her hands shake as she reaches for buttons running down the front. She manages 3 before his patience snaps. He grabs the fabric and pulls buttons scattering across polished floor as he tears the dress open from neckline to hem. The sound of rending fabric echoes through the vast chamber. She stands trembling in simple undergarments, exposed and vulnerable, and more aroused than she's ever been in her life. His eyes devour her, track every curve, every shadow, every trembling breath that makes her small breasts rise and fall. Exquisite. The word sounds like prayer and curse, like moonlight given flesh. Soft where I'm hard, warm where I'm cold. Perfect. He guides her backward until her legs hit the bed's edge. "Lie down." She obeys, climbing onto black silk that feels like water against her skin. He follows, prowling over her like the predator he is, caging her body beneath his. "This is your last chance." His eyes bore into hers with terrible intensity. "Once I taste you, once I claim you, there's no going back. You'll be mine in ways you can't imagine. Other vampires will smell my mark and know you're forbidden. Humans will see what I've left on you and know you've been ruined for mortal men." His hand slides between her legs, cupping her through damp cotton, making her cry out at sudden pressure. "Say no now, and I'll let you walk away. But if you say yes—" He presses harder, grinding his palm against her. "You'll never be free of me again." Her hips lift instinctively, seeking more friction, more pressure, more of everything. "Yes." The word comes out as a moan. "Yes, please. I want to be yours. I want everyone to know. I want your mark and your seed and your claim. I want—" His mouth cuts off her desperate pleading, swallowing her words as his fingers hook into her undergarments and tear them away. The sound of fabric ripping again. Then she's bare beneath him, completely exposed, vulnerable, aching. He breaks the kiss to look at her, and the hunger in his eyes makes her feel like prey and goddess simultaneously. "Spread your legs. Let me see what's mine." She obeys, thighs trembling, as she opens herself to his gaze. Cold air kisses exposed flesh, and she feels her arousal coating inner thighs, evidence of how desperately her body wants this. "Beautiful." One finger traces through slick folds, barely touching, making her whimper. "So wet for me already. So ready to be claimed." He brings his finger to his mouth, tasting her arousal, and his eyes roll back briefly. "Divine. You taste like innocence and sin." His hand returns between her legs, and this time he presses deeper, circling her entrance that's never been breached. His thumb finds the sensitive pearl at the apex of her thighs, circling it with maddening precision. "This is going to hurt at first, little one. I'm too large and you're too innocent, but I promise the pain will become pleasure if you trust me. I trust you. She doesn't know if it's true, but her body doesn't care about truth. It only cares about the ache building between her legs, the emptiness that needs to be filled. One finger presses inside her, slowly, carefully, breaching her entrance with deliberate patience. She gasps at the intrusion, at the strange fullness, at the slight burning stretch, as her body accommodates invasion it's never known. So tight. He adds a second finger, and she feels real resistance now, her inner walls gripping him desperately. You're going to feel perfect around me. His thumb continues its maddening circles, while his fingers work inside her, stretching her, preparing her, building. Something she's touched alone, but never quite reached. She's climbing toward some peak, some edge, where earth drops away into sky. His fingers curl inside her, finding a spot that makes her back arch off silk, a cry escaping her lips. There. He focuses on that spot, rubbing firmly while his thumb works her pearl. Let go. Come for me. The world shatters. Pleasure rips through her in waves that make her inner walls clench rhythmically around his fingers, make her whole body convulse, make her scream his name into the vast darkness of his chamber. He works her through it, fingers gentling but not stopping, drawing out every last tremor until she collapses back against silk, boneless and gasping. Before she can catch her breath, he withdraws his fingers and begins unfastening his pants. She watches through hooded eyes as he frees himself and her breath catches. He's massive, thick and long and already glistening at the tip with his own arousal. There's no way that will fit inside her. No possible way. Fear must show on her face because he smiles sharp and possessive. It will fit. Your body was made to take me. He positions himself between her spread thighs, the broad head of his shaft pressing against her entrance. She feels the size of him, the impossible stretch this will require, and panic flutters in her chest. Breathe, he commands, one hand gripping her hip hard enough to bruise the other, guiding himself. Look at me, Serafina. Don't close your eyes. I want to see your face when I claim your virginity. She meets his gaze, drowning in storm-gray depths, and feels him begin to push inside. The pressure is immense. Her body resists the invasion even as it floods with fresh arousal. He pushes deeper, slowly, relentlessly, and she feels herself stretching impossibly wide. It burns. It aches. It's too much. That's it. His voice strains with the effort of going slow. Take me. Let your body open for mine. Another inch. She whimpers at the burning stretch. He's only halfway inside and already she feels split open, overwhelmed. His thumb finds her pearl again, circling the sensitive nub, sending jolts of pleasure through the discomfort. Almost there, little one. You're doing so well, taking me so perfectly. One more push and he's fully seated inside her, his hips flush against hers, buried to the hilt in her virgin body. Serafina can't breathe, can't think, can only feel the impossible fullness, the way he stretches her to her absolute limit. Tears leak from the corners of her eyes, not from pain exactly, but from the overwhelming intensity of being claimed so completely. Mine. The word is a growl against her throat. This innocent body is mine now. This tight channel belongs to me. Say it. Yours. Her voice breaks. I am yours. He begins to move, withdrawing slowly until just the tip remains inside, then pushing back in with deliberate care. Each thrust sends sparks of sensation through her, pain and pleasure mixing until she can't tell them apart. Her body adjusts to the intrusion. Inner walls soften, welcome him deeper. The burning fades, replaced by delicious friction that makes her moan. That's my good girl. He increases his pace slightly, still controlled, but with more force behind each thrust. Learning how to take your king. His hand finds hers, fingers interlacing, pinning her to the bed, as he claims her with steady, powerful movements. And somewhere in the rhythm, in the connection, in the way he looks at her like she's the only thing in his 500-year existence that matters. Serafina stops being afraid. She wraps her legs around his waist, heels digging into his lower back, urging him deeper. The angle changes. He hits that spot inside her with every thrust now, and suddenly she's climbing again, racing toward another peak. Lucian. His name tears from her throat. That's it. Say my name. Let everyone in this castle hear who's claiming you. He drives into her harder, faster, and she feels the coil inside her winding tighter, tighter, ready to snap. Come for me, he commands. Come while I breed you. The words push her over the edge. She shatters around him, pleasure crashing through her in waves even stronger than before. Her virgin walls clamp down on his invading length, and she feels him swell impossibly larger inside her. His rhythm falters. His grip on her hand tightens to the point of pain. Then his fangs descend razor sharp and he strikes. The pain is brilliant and brief. His bite pierces her throat as he buries himself one final time, and she feels him pulse inside her, flooding her channel with his seed. Hot and thick, painting her inner walls, marking her from the inside out. He keeps moving, driving it deeper with shallow thrusts, making sure every drop finds its way into her womb. When he finally stills, both of them are shaking. He stays inside her, his shaft still hard, still throbbing occasionally with aftershocks. His tongue laves the bite on her throat, cleaning the wound, sealing it into a scar that will never fade. Beautiful, he murmurs against her skin. You took me so perfectly, took my seed so well. She can't form words. Her body feels used and satisfied in ways she never imagined possible. The bite on her throat throbs in time with her heartbeat, and she knows everyone will see it tomorrow. Will know she belongs to Lucian Ravencroft. His hand slides down to rest on her lower belly, pressing gently where his seed pools inside her. Can you feel it? His voice holds wonder. By morning my seed will take root. By this time tomorrow you'll be carrying my heir. The casual certainty should terrify her. Instead, her inner walls clench around him, drawing a pleased rumble from his chest. You like that idea? It's not a question. The thought of being bred by your king. Serafina wakes to cold arms wrapped around her black silk sheets tangled around naked limbs, and an ache between her legs that's both pleasant and uncomfortable. Evidence of what Lucian did to her body through the long night stains the sheets beneath them. He's already awake, watching her with those storm-gray eyes. How do you feel? She takes inventory. Sore, thoroughly used, marked inside and out, and strangely, wonderfully alive. Different, she says. Changed. His hand cups her face gently, thumb tracing her cheekbone. You are changed. This, he touches the bite mark on her throat, making her shiver, is permanent. A scar that will never fade. Everyone who sees you will know you belong to the Vampire King. And this? Her hand moves to her belly, still flat, but somehow feeling different already. Will show soon enough. He splays his fingers across her abdomen. Vampire pregnancies progress 3 times faster than human. If my seed took root last night, and I made sure it did, you'll know within days. And then I present you to the court as my consort, the future mother of my heir. His expression grows serious. It won't be easy, Serafina. The court will challenge you, test you. Some will see you as a threat, others as an opportunity. I'm just a servant girl. You were a servant girl. He sits up, pulling her with him. Now, you're the woman carrying my child, the one who will stand beside me and help me rule this territory. You'll need to learn quickly. Court politics, vampire hierarchies, how to protect yourself and our child. The weight of it settles on her shoulders, but she doesn't bend. Teach me, she says. The same words she used last night, but with different meaning now. I'll learn. I'll be what you need me to be. His smile holds pride and something deeper. You already are. Later, after he's bathed her with exquisite care, after he's dressed her in silk, finer than anything she's ever touched, after he's made love to her once more, with surprising tenderness, he finally tells her the rest. Your name, he says, brushing her golden hair. Serafina. Do you know who chose it? My mother. Do you know why? She shakes her head. Your grandmother's name was Celeste. When your mother was pregnant with you fleeing your abusive father, she came to me for sanctuary. I gave it without hesitation, recognizing her as Celeste's granddaughter. He turns her to face him. Before she gave birth, she asked me one question. If I name her after someone important to you, will you watch over her as you did my grandmother? And I said yes. Seraphina's breath catches. Your full name is Seraphina Celeste Ashwood. Your mother named you after an angel and my lost love. She knew even 19 years ago that destiny would bring us together. Tears prick her eyes. She knew this would happen. She hoped. She believed that if you carried Celeste's name, carried her blood, perhaps you could have what Celeste couldn't. Both love and children. Both mortality and forever eventually. He wipes her tears with cold thumbs. Your mother has been preparing you for this your whole life, even if you didn't know it. The revelation overwhelms her, her entire existence carefully orchestrated by a mother's hope and a dead grandmother's legacy. I need to see her, Seraphina says. My mother, she must be terrified. She'll know the truth the moment she sees you. His gaze travels over her from the bite mark on her throat to the way she moves with newfound soreness. She'll know I claimed you thoroughly. But she needs to hear it from me, that I chose this, that I want this. He nods slowly. Then go to her. But return to me before sunset. I'm not done breeding you yet. The promise in his voice sends heat flooding through her despite her exhaustion, and as she walks through the castle in borrowed silk heading toward the servants' quarters where her mother waits, Seraphina Celeste Ashwood knows three things with absolute certainty. She's been claimed by a vampire king. She's carrying his heir, and her life will never be the same. The great hall swallows sound. 300 immortal eyes watch Seraphina Ashwood cross marble floors, 3 months pregnant, but looking ready to birth. The child grows at 3 times human speed, her belly impossibly swollen beneath midnight silk. The mark on her throat blazes red, 2 puncture wounds claiming her as the vampire king's property. Lucian Ravencroft extends his hand as she reaches the dais, helping her up with tenderness wrapped in iron authority. Members of the court, his voice commands absolute silence. I present Seraphina Ashwood, granddaughter of my lost love Celeste, carrier of my heir, my chosen consort. From this day forward she speaks with my authority. Slowly the assembled vampires bow, all except one. Lord Salvatore steps forward, silver hair gleaming, eyes cold as winter lakes. You elevate a human servant to consort. She's pretty, I'll grant, a warm body to breed, but she'll be dust before the century turns. The temperature drops. Lucian moves like darkness given form, hand closing around Salvatore's throat, lifting him off his feet. Meet me in the arena. Prove my love makes me weak, or bow to your future queen. Salvatore's eyes flick to Seraphina with pure hatred, but survival instinct wins. I withdraw my objection, my king. Lucian releases him. Salvatore collapses, gasping. Liar, but you're smart enough to know when you're outmatched. As they leave, Seraphina feels Salvatore's gaze burning into her spine. This isn't over. Month 3 arrives on a winter night. The first contraction doubles her over. Water breaks. Blood follows. 8 hours of agony. Contractions ripping her apart. Pressure unbearable. Her son forcing his way into the world through sheer violence. She's hemorrhaging. The child is clawing. Lucian's face above her storm-gray eyes wide with terror. Don't you dare leave me. Another contraction. Final. The tearing becomes unbearable. She screams, pushes, feels tiny fangs tear flesh, feels hands extracting, then release. A cry splits the air. A boy, healthy and strong. Dorian. Dark hair, gray eyes finding her immediately. Perfect. But she can't feel her legs. Blood pumps out faster than her heart can replace. She's dying. Turn me, she whispers through bloody lips. I choose. Turn me now. No. Lucian's voice shatters. Not while dying. You deserve to choose freely. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing to stay. Let her hold the child first, the physician says gently. They place Dorian on her chest. Tiny weight, warm and alive. Hello, my love, she whispers. So strong, so fierce. Her vision blurs. Stop the hemorrhaging now, Lucian roars. Save her or I burn this castle. Hands move desperately. Something searing cauterizes torn flesh. Pain drags her back from the edge. Ancient vampire magic knits impossible wounds. Blood finally slows. She's stabilizing. She's going to make it. Lucian collapses beside the bed, shaking with relief. I didn't turn you, he whispers. You survived as human, because I want you to choose immortality freely, when ready, not as escape from death. Her fingers tighten on his. Enough. Recovery takes 6 months. Dorian grows at supernatural speed. By the time she's healed, he's crawling, babbling, showing inhuman strength. Lucian waits patiently until she initiates intimacy, climbing into his lap one night with 6 months of hunger. Certain, he asks. I've been certain for weeks. He carries her to bed. 6 weeks later, she's pregnant again. Year 2 brings twins Lyra and Isolde. Identical except for freckles across Lyra's nose. Gray eyes, golden hair. The pregnancy easier, birth faster, though still dangerous. Between pregnancies, she learns to rule. By year 3, the court respects her not just as consort, but as power in her own right. She mediates disputes, offers counsel, Lucian values. She nurses while negotiating treaties. Teaches Dorian while planning strategies. Motherhood and sovereignty intertwine. Year 4 brings Caspian, quieter than his siblings with her sapphire eyes instead of Lucian's gray, watching everything with intensity, suggesting old soul in young body. Our scholar, Lucian predicts, who builds libraries while Dorian conquers territories. 3 pregnancies in 8 years. 4 children total. Dorian the twins, Caspian, filling Blackthorn Castle with sounds it hasn't heard in centuries. Her body bears evident stretch marks, fuller breasts, wider hips. Lucian worships these changes, calls her more beautiful for proof of what she's given him. You've given me a dynasty, he says, made me more than a king ruling empty halls. Between year 5 and 8, she focuses on ruling rather than breeding, establishing authority, earning genuine respect. Morgana guides her through subtleties of vampire politics. The court watches her transform from trembling virgin to formidable queen. But she's also aging, not dramatically, but at 29 fine lines appear at her eyes. Maturity in features speaks of years passing. Her children age faster. Dorian at 10 looks 18, tall, commanding. Twins at 8 pass for 16. Caspian at 6 appears 12. They grow into immortal heritage while she ages toward mortality's end. Year 10. Dorian's birthday celebration. After festivities, he finds her in the portrait gallery. Mother, his voice already deepened, can I ask something? Always. Will you grow old while we stay young? The question pierces her chest. Yes, she answers honestly. I'm human. I age. Will you die? Leave father alone again. She pulls him close. Everyone dies eventually. Even vampires can be killed. But I'm not planning on dying soon. But you could choose not to. Father could turn you. Why haven't you asked? The question haunts her. She thinks about Celeste, who chose mortal life over eternity, who valued bearing children more than forever. But Celeste never had what she has, never bore hybrid children who'll live centuries, never built family that'll outlast empires. She's lost in thought when she feels sharp prick in her neck, like bee sting. Brief. She spins. Lord Salvatore steps back, silver syringe in hand. Empty. Her hand flies to her neck, blood welling. What did you do? Salvatore's smile is cold satisfaction. Forced the issue. Silver nitrate mixed with vampire toxins. You have 72 hours before your organs fail. World tilts. Why? Because I'm tired of waiting. I want to see if Lucian turns you to save you, proving love makes him weak, or lets you die rather than force choice. Either way, I win. Her knees buckle. She catches portrait frame. Guards. The consort has collapsed. Footsteps thunder. Voices shout. Last thing she sees before darkness, Lucian's face twisted in anguish, screaming for physicians. Then nothing. Darkness deeper than sleep. Serafina floats in it, weightless, timeless, barely tethered to the world above by the thinnest thread of consciousness. Voices drift down to her, muffled and distant. Silver nitrate in her bloodstream, enhanced with something I've never seen before. It's killing her cell by cell. How long? At this rate, 48 hours, maybe less. Lucian's voice cuts through like a blade. Then turn her. Now. I'll do it myself. My king, you said you wanted her to choose freely. I don't care what I said. The roar shakes whatever room she's in. I won't watch her die because of my fucking pride. Prepare her for transformation immediately. Wait. Her own voice. Barely a whisper, but it stops everything. The darkness lightens slightly. She drags herself up from the depths, clawing toward consciousness with the same desperate strength she used to push 4 children into the world. Her eyes crack open. The light burns. Lucian's face swims into focus. Storm-gray eyes, red-rimmed face, haggard in ways she's never seen. He looks ancient, suddenly carrying the full weight of 5 centuries. Don't speak, he says roughly. Save your strength. I'm going to turn you. I should have done it years ago. No. The word scrapes out like gravel over stone. You were right. Serafina, let me choose. Each syllable costs her. Silver burns through her veins like acid, eating her from inside out. Not because I'm dying, because I want forever. Tears track down his marble face. You don't have to. Not pretending. She forces her hand to rise to cup his cold cheek. Grandmother Celeste chose children over eternity with you. Chose mortal life over immortal love. He closes his eyes. The pain in his expression could shatter mountains. But I'm not her. Serafina's voice strengthens, fueled by desperate need to make him understand. I've already had my children. 4 beautiful babies who will live for centuries. I've experienced pregnancy, birth, motherhood, everything she chose mortality for. His eyes open. Hope wars with fear in those gray depths. Now I choose you. The words flow easier, truth giving them weight. I choose forever. I choose to stand beside you for eternity. Not because poison forces my hand, but because I want to watch our children grow into their power. I want to meet our grandchildren. I want to rule this castle with you for the next 500 years. Serafina, please. Her hand falls back to the bed, strength failing. Don't make me beg. Turn me. Make me yours in every way. Forever. The last word barely whispers past her lips before darkness surges up again. But this time she goes willingly. Because she feels Lucian's cold mouth on her throat, feels razor-sharp fangs pierce her flesh, exactly where his first bite scarred her a decade ago, feels him drinking deep, taking her mortality with every pull. Then his wrist presses against her lips, and she tastes copper and winter and eternity. Drink, he commands. Drink and be reborn. She drinks. 3 days of fire. Every cell in her body burns, dies, rebuilds into something new, something other, something that will never age, never sicken, never die unless violence takes her. She screams until her voice gives out, convulses until physicians have to strap her to the bed to keep her from shattering her own bones, bleeds from eyes, nose, mouth as her human body purges everything mortal. Lucian never leaves, holds her hand through every spasm, whispers promises in dead languages, reminds her why she chose this. On the 3rd day, dawn breaks and the fire finally burns out. She opens her eyes. The world explodes into crystalline clarity. She can see individual dust motes floating in lamplight 20 feet away, can count the threads in black silk sheets, can make out the grain in wooden ceiling beams that disappear into shadow. She can hear everything. Lucian's unnecessary breathing beside her, guards' footsteps 3 corridors away, her children in the nursery. Dorian's laugh, Lyra's shriek, Caspian's quiet voice explaining something to his sisters. The scent. Oh God, the scent. Her own blood. Lucian's winter smoke signature, old stone soaked in centuries of violence and love. Seraphina. Lucian's voice sounds different, richer, layered with harmonics her human ears couldn't detect. How do you feel? She sits up. The movement is effortless, fluid, her body responding with strength she's never known. She looks at her hands, pale now, luminous, marble perfect. The scars from cooking accidents vanished, the wedding ring she'd worn for 10 years now loose on her slender finger. She rises and crosses to the mirror. A stranger looks back. No, not a stranger. Still herself, but perfected. Frozen at 29, the lines at her eyes erased, her skin glowing with inner light. Her sapphire eyes have deepened to something darker, more intense. Her golden hair catches and holds light in ways it never did. She's beautiful, not in the way she was at 19, trembling and innocent. This is power and grace and eternal youth wrapped in familiar features. I look like a queen. You are a queen. Lucian appears behind her in the mirror, his hands settling on her shoulders. My queen, my equal, my forever. She turns in his arms, and the movement is too fast, vampire speed she doesn't know how to control yet. Suddenly she's pressed against him, and she can feel his strength, now recognize it as matching her own. Salvatore. The name tastes like ash. Where is he? Chained in the dungeons, awaiting your judgment. My judgment. He poisoned the queen. Lucian's smile could cut. You have the right to execute him yourself, if you choose. She does choose. The dungeons run deep beneath Blackthorn Castle, carved from living rock when the foundations were laid. Silver chains bind Salvatore to the wall, burning his flesh, keeping him weak. He looks up when Seraphina descends the stairs. Recognition flares in his eyes. Then fear. You survived, his voice rasps. Of course. He turned you. You forced the issue, she agrees, her voice echoing off stone. You tried to take my choice away, to make Lucian choose between losing me and turning me against my will. I wanted to prove him weak. Instead, you proved me strong. She crosses to a weapons rack. Silver blades gleam. She selects a short sword, balanced and deadly. Strong enough to survive your poison, long enough to choose. Strong enough to accept transformation on my terms. Strong enough to do this. She turns back. The fear in his eyes intensifies. Please. 300 years of service. 300 years, and you learned nothing about love. The sword feels perfect in her hand. You thought loving me made Lucian weak. But you were wrong. It made him stronger. Gave him something worth protecting. Something worth ruling for. She raises the blade. I am not the trembling virgin who walked into his chambers 10 years ago. I am not the mortal girl you dismissed as temporary. I am Seraphina Ravencroft, Queen of Blackthorn Castle, mother of the king's heirs, and I will rule beside him for the next 500 years. The blade falls. Salvatore's head rolls across stone. His body crumbles to ash within seconds, 300 years of existence reduced to dust. Seraphina feels no guilt, no satisfaction, just cold certainty that this was necessary, that ruling requires strength and mercy shown to traitors gets good people killed. She climbs back to the light. Lucian waits at the top, sees the blood on her hands, the ash on her dress, and smiles. My queen, he murmurs. Magnificent. That night he takes her to bed as an equal for the first time. No longer fragile human who might break. No longer mortal woman recovering from childbirth, but vampire queen powerful and eternal, matching his strength with her own. The love-making is different, fierce and wild, neither holding back, both reveling in the discovery that they can finally meet each other completely. She matches his passion, his speed, his strength, leaves marks on his marble skin that heal within moments, claims him as thoroughly as he's always claimed her. And when he spills inside her, breeding her with the same desperate hunger he's shown for a decade, she discovers something wonderful. She can still bear children. Vampire females mated to vampire males retain fertility. The children come slower, pregnancies lasting 6 months instead of 3. But they come. Year 12 brings Theron into the world, her 5th child, firstborn after transformation. Strong and silent from the moment of birth, with his mother's sapphire eyes and his father's quiet intensity. The pregnancy was strange feeling. The child grow inside an immortal body, no morning sickness, no exhaustion, just steady expansion, and then birth that she recovers from within hours instead of months. "You're glowing," Lucian tells her, watching her nurse Theron despite not needing to. Vampire babies can drink blood from birth, but she likes the connection, the intimacy of feeding her son from her own body. Motherhood suits you even better now. 4 years later, Celestia arrives, named for the grandmother who started it all, beautiful and fierce and everything her namesake might have been if she'd chosen immortality. Their 6th child. Born in year 16, when Dorian is already leading patrols on the northern border, when the twins are studying statecraft, when Caspian has started building what will become the greatest vampire library in the Americas. The family grows, expands, fills Blackthorn Castle with multiple generations of vampire royalty. Dorian at 20, looking 35, takes a mate. Within years gives Seraphina 3 grandchildren. The twins at 18 both mate, both become mothers. Lyra has 4 children, Isolde 3. Caspian at 16 prefers books to politics, but eventually finds a mate who shares his scholarly passion. 2 children result, both brilliant. Theron grows into a wanderer, sending letters from distant lands. No mate yet, no children, but time stretches infinite. Celestia becomes her father's daughter, political, strategic, sharp as silver. Her 3 children show the same cunning. Year 30 brings sorrow. Morgana dies peacefully in her sleep at 75, surrounded by daughter and grandchildren and great-grandchildren she never imagined would exist. Seraphina holds her mother's hand as the old woman's breathing slows, stops, releases. "Thank you," she whispers to the cooling body, "for naming me after her, for bringing me here, for believing I could have what she couldn't." "Thank you, Mom." They bury Morgana in the castle cemetery with full honors, her headstone reading, "Beloved Mother, Wise Counselor, Guardian of Destiny." The grief is sharp but clean. Morgana lived a full life, died surrounded by love, saw her daughter become queen and her bloodline secured for centuries. What more could any mother ask? The decades blur. Year 40, 50, 60. Seraphina learns to rule as vampire, her authority unquestioned, her wisdom sought by vampire lords across the territory. She mediates disputes, negotiates treaties, makes decisions that affect thousands of immortal lives. She watches her children grow into their power. Dorian becomes lord of the northern territories. The twins govern the south together. Caspian's library becomes renowned worldwide. Theron finally settles, takes a mate, starts sending letters about becoming a father. Celestia is being groomed to inherit territories of her own. 15 grandchildren, 8 great-grandchildren. A dynasty built not in a day but across decades of love and choice. And through it all, Lucian by her side, teaching her, learning from her, loving her with an intensity that hasn't dimmed in 60 years. 60 years after the summoning, 50 years after transformation. Seraphina stands on the balcony of Blackthorn Castle, watching sunset paint the Catskill Mountains in shades of blood and gold. She still looks 29. Will look 29 when these mountains erode to dust. Behind her, the castle pulses with life. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren filling halls that echoed empty for centuries before a golden-haired servant girl stumbled into a vampire king's chambers and changed everything. Arms wrap around her from behind. Lucian's embrace is familiar now as her own heartbeat. His hand settles on her flat belly, remembering the 6 times it swelled with life. 6 children across 50 years, 4 born when she was mortal and fragile, 2 after she became eternal and strong. 7 total counting Dorian. A perfect number, a complete dynasty. 60 years, he murmurs against her throat lips, brushing the double scar that never faded. And I still wake every night grateful you chose me. She leans back against his cold strength. Every day for 60 years I've made that choice again. And I'll keep choosing you when these mountains are dust. I choose you too. His hand splays across her belly. I chose you when you were 19 and trembling. I chose you when you were mortal and aging. I choose you now, immortal and powerful. And I'll choose you when we're building new kingdoms in lands not yet discovered. Below them in the great hall, family gathers for evening meal. Multiple generations filling tables, filling space, filling the emptiness that haunted this castle for centuries. Dorian, 70 years old, looking 40, with his 3 children and their children. The twins at 68, both grandmothers, now still inseparable. Caspian at 56, with his scholarly mate and their brilliant offspring. Theron at 48, finally home from wandering, carrying news that he's going to be a father. Celestia at 44, already a grandmother despite her relative youth, her political acumen making her invaluable. 7 children, 15 grandchildren, 8 great-grandchildren with more on the way. A family, a dynasty, a legacy built on the foundation of one servant girl's courage and one vampire king's lonely heart. "What are you thinking?" Lucian asks. That Grandmother Celeste made the right choice for her. Mortality, children, a human life. Serafina turns in his arms. And I made the right choice for me. Immortality. You. Forever. No regrets. None. She means it absolutely. She chose what she needed. I chose what I needed. And because she chose children over eternity, I exist. Which means you got both in the end. Her bloodline and forever. I got everything. He kisses her deep and claiming tasting of winter and smoke and 60 years of love. I got you. That night they make love as they have for 6 decades, fierce and tender, claiming and cherishing 2 immortal beings who found each other across generations and bloodlines and the vast gulf between human and vampire. When he fills her with his seed habit now, more than breeding, though vampire females can conceive again, after decades she feels complete in ways that transcend the physical. Below them, the castle sleeps. Children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren dream vampire dreams that span centuries. The dynasty spreads roots deeper into American soil, establishing power that will outlast governments. And at the center of it all, Serafina and Lucian, former servant girl and vampire king, consort and ruler, mother and father, and partners in eternity. She traces the double bite scar on her throat, the mark from that first claiming deepened when he turned her. "Thank you," she whispers, "for choosing me when I was nobody, for seeing what I could become." "Thank you," he answers, "for being brave enough to say yes, for giving me a family when I'd forgotten what family meant, for turning 500 years of loneliness into 60 years of joy. Outside stars wheel across the sky, civilizations rise and fall, the world spins on, but inside Blackthorn Castle time means nothing. Forever stretches ahead, infinite and golden, filled with love and life, and the laughter of children who carry vampire blood and human courage in equal measure. Serafina closes her eyes and believes what she never could have imagined 60 years ago, trembling in a white dress. Some fairy tales are real. Some monsters just need the right woman to show them how to love, and sometimes the servant girl becomes the queen, not through magic or destiny or fate, but through choice. Her choice. His choice. The choice they make together every single day for all the days that will never end, forever.